Welcome to a Legendarium special about a brief history of the jack-o'-lantern. In this episode, we will learn about how the jack-o'-lantern transformed from a pagan totem into an emblem of holiday fun. Gourds became one of the first plant species domesticated by humans 10,000 years ago. People mainly grew gourds for their carving potential as kitchen tools, dishes, musical instruments, toys, and even furniture. Using a round fruit or vegetable to depict a human face goes back thousands of years. It may have even come from pre-Christian traditions of head venerations, with the soul believed to reside in the head. And that is the reason why war chiefs and warriors took heads from defeated enemies and put them on display. The idea took deeper hold during the Celtic festival of Samhain, celebrated on November 1st. On Samhain Eve, October 31st, the Celts believed that the spirits of the dead freely mingled with the living. To fend off restless and troublesome souls, people put on costumes and carved frightening faces into root vegetables like beets and turnips, often plentiful after the then recent harvest. However, our modern practice originated from an Irish myth about a man nicknamed Stingy Jack. According to the story, Stingy Jack invited the devil to have a drink with him. True to his name, Stingy Jack did not want to pay for his drink, so he convinced the devil to turn himself into a coin that Jack could use to pay for their drinks. And once the devil did so, Jack decided to keep the money and put the coin into his pocket next to a silver cross, which prevented the devil from changing back. Jack later freed the devil under the condition that the devil would not bother Jack again for 1 year. And exactly 1 year later, Jack again tricked the devil into climbing a tree so he could pick a piece of fruit. And while up in the tree, Jack carved a sign of the cross into the tree's bark so the devil could not come down, at least until Jack forced the devil to promise that he would not bother him for 10 more years, and as a sweetener, Jack would never go to hell. Soon after this latest exploit, Jack came down with a slight case of death. As the legend goes, God would not allow such a wicked man into heaven, and the devil, upset by the trick that Jack played on him, chose to keep his word not to claim Jack's soul. When Jack asked how he would find his way in the night back on Earth, Satan picked up a burning coal, plentiful in hell, and tossed it to Jack so that he could light his way. Jack then put the burning coal into a carved-out turnip and has been roaming the earth ever since. He served as a cautionary tale to the Irish, a warning of what would happen to those who behaved badly, even if they were clever enough to slip out of trouble. The Irish called this ghostly figure Jack of the Lantern and then simply Jack-o'-lantern. The story explained the presence of ignis fatuus, a natural phenomenon that occurs in marshlands and bogs, such as those in the Irish countryside. It produces flickering lights as gases from rotting organic matter combust in the air. Also called fool's fire, fairy lights, and will-o'-the-wisps, it often appeared as a floating flame in the night. Of course, if one tried to follow that light, one could tumble into a sinkhole or a bog and then drown. Curiously, the Irish and Scots also seem to have called night watchmen jack-o'-lanterns after the lamps they always carried as they walked their rounds at night. In Ireland and Scotland, people began to make their own versions of jack-o'-lanterns by carving scary faces into turnips or potatoes. They then placed them into windows or near doors to frighten away Stingy Jack and other wicked spirits. In England, large beets are used to similar purpose. Immigrants from those countries brought the jack-o'-lantern with them when they came to the United States. They soon found that pumpkins, a fruit native to the Americas, made perfect jack-o'-lanterns, and it did not take long for the pumpkin jack-o'-lantern to become an American tradition as the Irish spread out across the United States and their non-Irish neighbors chose to join in on the Halloween fun. Pumpkins already had a prominent place in American culture before the Irish came over. Washington Irving's The Legend of Sleepy Hollow, first published in 1820, pushed the pumpkin into the cultural forefront. In the short story's climax, the Headless Horseman throws an uncarved pumpkin at Ichabod Crane, who is never seen again. Could a jealous man have murdered him to possess his woman, or did the ghostly figure simply destroy him? We don't know. Yet most images of the terrifying Headless Horseman portray him holding a fiery jack-o'-lantern instead of an uncarved pumpkin, which helped the story to become a Halloween favorite. Jack-o'-lanterns showed up in other early American literature and media. Nathaniel Hawthorne referred to one in his 1835 short story The Great Carbuncle, and again in 1852 with Feathertop. That story involved a fearsome scarecrow with a carved pumpkin head. And today, according to the United States Department of Agriculture, more than 1 billion tons of pumpkins are harvested, and most end up as jack-o'-lanterns on front porches from coast to coast. That wraps things up for this episode of The Legendarium. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, press like. If you want to see more, press subscribe. And if you've got anything to say, let me know in the comments section. Thanks again for joining me, and I hope that you have a great rest of the day.